Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 548 and Doubleshot number 454. I got one Marvel trade, one DC trade for this one. First up is DC trade. And it is Batman Legacy Volume 2, collecting Batman Bane of the Demon. This is a 4-issue miniseries. Catwoman Volume 2, number 36. Robin Volume 4, 32-33. Batman Shadow of the Bat, 54. Batman 534. Detective Comics 701, 702. And Batman Bane number 1. Yeah, second last one after this. This is it for the Legacy storyline. Now, Batman Bane of the Demon. This one, I believe, is done by both Chuck Dixon. Let's see here. Just want to be correct about this. If I can find the title page here for this one. Yeah, I think this miniseries is done by both Chuck Dixon and Graham Nolan. Yep, they're the ones who do this really good miniseries. Yeah, they're the ones who do this miniseries. The Catwoman one, the artwork is done by Jim Ballant, and the writing is done by Chuck Dixon. Mostly put, this is a Chuck Dixon crossover. He does pretty much everything. He does Batman Bane the Demon, Catwoman, Robin, and Detective Comics. I think he even does Batman Bane number 1. Let me take a look at that. I think he does. Shadow of the Bat is done by Alan Grant. Yeah, because, well, it's Alan Grant. He did the first 81 issues for the series, so it's not surprising he did the Shadow of the Bat issue. The Detective Comics issues are drawn by Graham Nolan. Yeah, Chuck Dixon does the writing. The artwork is done by Rick Berchant. Yep. Now, who does the artwork for the other books? Well, obviously, Catwoman is done by Jim Ballant. That's an obvious one. In the case of Bane, okay, the artwork is done by Graham Nolan. Yeah, Graham Nolan does the interior artwork for Bane of the Demon. Yeah, this is just a mini-series of explaining the backstory of how Bane teamed up with Ra's al Ghul. Ra's does not play a big role in the story at all. Mostly put, this is just basically Bane taking revenge against Batman for what happened in Nightfall. Yeah, this is their rematch that have been building for a while. Yep, Chuck Dixon, and now the artwork is done by Jim Ballant and Bob Smith. Yeah, those two people do the artwork for the Catwoman issue. The Robin issue is done by Staz Johnson. Yep, he's the one who does the artwork for Robin. Surprisingly enough, despite the fact that Nightwing had an ongoing series published, actually I think it was just after this crossover wrapped up that he finally got an ongoing series. Shadow of the Bat. The artwork for this one is done by, if I can find the right page here for this one, someone named Taylor. Let me look him up here. I think he's listed here. Taylor. Dave Taylor. Yeah, he's the one who does the artwork for Shadow of the Bat. Here's a sample of Dave Taylor's artwork. Yep. Batman is done by Doug Moak, and the artwork is done by Jim Perrell, but the cover art for issue 534, you can tell by looking at this artwork, this is Kelly Jones' artwork. I can tell easily. You know how? The giant bat ears. Yep. Kelly Jones is known for doing this a lot. So, yeah. With Bill Sienkiewicz doing the inking for the issue. Yeah, that's interesting if Bill Sienkiewicz is inking. This artwork is fantastic. Yeah. A lot of people should appreciate the late Jim Perrell's artwork a lot more. Even by the 90s standards, basically, his artwork was still very good. Mm-hmm. Yep. His artwork is still very good. This by far was a really great story to read, and reading in a trade is fantastic. I love the fact DC did a new printing of this thing because there was an old printing of this published years ago. It's been out of print for years. Now there was certain portions of the storyline not printed in trade. Now the entire thing is printed in trade. Well, most of it is. Let me look up here. I think there's still like one part of the story that is not in trade. Let's see here. Yeah, because as far as I know, there's still one part of the storyline never in trade. Actually, the entire thing is in trade. Yep. The entire storyline is in trade officially. And do you know how long ago this storyline came out? It's been almost 12 years, almost 22 years. Yeah, only 22 years old, and the art and the story still, it's still a good classic Batman story from the 90s. That's one thing you gotta say good about the 90s when it comes to Batman. Pretty much every single Bat book that came out in the 90s were pretty much really good. A lot of them were really good from what I've read. And because of the fact this is good, I'm gonna give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Chuck Dixon, Doug Moak, and Alan Grant all did a fantastic job when it comes to writing this. And of course, the writing, of course, those are the writers. And you gotta give praise to the artists on here. Graham Nolan, who by the way is working on the Bane Conquest series with Chuck Dixon right now, the late Jim Perro, Jim Ballant, Staz Johnson, Dave Taylor, and Rick Bertrand. You also got to give praise to the inkers in here, which is Scott Hanna, Bob Smith, Ray McCarthy, Stan Watch, Bill Sienkiewicz, Rob Lee, Tom Palmer, and Rick Merchant, who did some writing as well. The cover art here is done by Graham Nolan and Bill Sienkiewicz. Yeah, they do this cover art. It's a fantastic cover. And here's the back cover. It's just fantastic. So, 9.5 out of 10. Amazing. Next up, even though it's a Marvel trade, this series was originally published by Dark Horse. But yet, Marvel decided to give its own trade for some reason. I don't know why, and that's Darth Maul, son of Dathomir. The only Dark Horse comic that is canon with the new Disney canon. Yeah, surprisingly it is. Now I'm trying to figure though, why was this one considered canon? Well, there is a reason why for this, because this miniseries is actually adapted from 4 unproduced episodes from the Star Wars: The Clone Wars CGI series. Yeah, and this contains the entire 4-issue miniseries, plus material from Star Wars Tales 7 through 9. Mostly put for this particular miniseries, it takes place like right after Darth Maul was last seen back in season 5 of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where he's captured by Palpatine, held prisoner, and of course briefly he takes Dooku and General Grievous hostage. The mother of the Night Sister, she briefly comes back in the series, which is actually really interesting. And they also reveal in here that, well, because this has been building up for quite a while during the course of the series when he was brought back, he formed an alliance with the Black Sun. He's the head of Death Watch. This is just one really amazing series to read. If you're a fan of Darth Maul, I highly recommend it. They also throw in covers here from Dark Horse's take on Darth Maul. This is not the only time they actually did a miniseries for Darth Maul, or at least featured covers for him. Yeah, they did a miniseries apparently in the year 2000. Yeah, it was a 4-issue miniseries. I don't know much about it. I've never read it. Yeah, that's the thing with the original EU canon. And I'm thinking though, out of all the series that Star Wars published for Dark Horse, and this is the only one that considered is canon. Which is interesting though, because pretty much everything else related to the Star Wars canon that was published by Dark Horse is considered to be part of the Star Wars Legends line, which is non-canon material. The only reason why it is because it ties in with Star Wars: The Clone Wars CGI show, which that show is canon. So anything that was not made from that show and made into something like this, that is considered to be canon. This is just one really amazing series, and proves. I mean, if the series, if this was turned into an ongoing series by Dark Horse, if in fact they had that last license, there could have been plenty of material that they could have told with this story when it comes to Darth Maul, because there's plenty of stuff to tell. I mean, if you want a place where this takes place, it takes place just prior to the events of Revenge of the Sith. That's when this miniseries takes place, if you want to put it that way. I would say probably about a good 6 months before the events of that particular film. I'm not sure where that's the best place I can think of putting it, because Dooku is still alive, and so is Grievous, because Dooku was killed by Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith by being beheaded, and the way he was beheaded was very bizarre. Yeah, Anakin took two lightsabers, took his own and Dooku's lightsaber, foreign pair of scissors, and basically chopped his head off that way. Look up the shot off screen. Grievous is killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi in a badass fashion. Basically, ripped his chest open and took a thing where his heart is, and that's how he died. Yeah. I'm going to give this one also a 9.5 out of 10 because of how really good of a miniseries this is. And I highly recommend this to people who are Star Wars fans. Matt Samantha watch this. Despite what Disney did with the new canon, this is one thing that actually kept canon from Dark Horse. This is the only thing. Despite the fact, yes, it is produced by Marvel, but Marvel did not produce this series. It was Dark Horse. Excuse me. The artwork is done. The writing is done by Jerry Barlow, and the writing is done by Juan Faragi. I kind of wish we get more Darth Maul series, because Maul is such an interesting character, and Marvel has only done one mini series with him, and that was done by Colin Bunn. I've done a review. You have to look it up on my channel. That was a really good series. So is this one, but this was the first one they did. This was the last one this one actually one of the last series that Dark Horse hit, just before they started publishing Star Wars comics. It was this one. There was a Darth Vader miniseries, and the series simply titled Star Wars, which was written by Brian Wood. And after 20 years, Brother Horse was relaunched by Marvel with Jason Aaron on the writing. Of course, now it's done by Karen Gillian. Though I do have something to say about the artwork when I get a chance to review the trades for the most recent stuff that come out for it. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for this one. Sorry about the glare, but yeah, Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir. Great miniseries. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which I have 2 Justice League trades coming up in the next episode. You'd be surprised who actually writes one of them. Okay? But until you see you in the next episode, bye. Actually, be episode 549, and Doubleshot number, I believe it is, if I look it up here, it is 455. That'll be the next one. Alright? But until you see me next episode, bye.